Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me and the way society portrays women in particular. We'll start there. Okay, yeah, let's do it. All right. Oh my God, it's going to be good. Well, I went to an amazing gathering of incredible women last night, all very highly psychic and intuitive and healer women and medicine women and magic women and wise women. And it was all age ranges, all walks of life, all different backgrounds and experience. And we got to talking about, the sexual exploitation on this planet and how gross it is and how it's reached an absolutely ridiculous level and that we need to start, reframing and reclaiming our bodies, our light, our truth, our stories, and not just in a victim, survivor, overcomer way, but in an empowerment, juicy, sovereign, how do we want sensuality and pleasure to go forward on this planet for, women, and how do we protect children from being hypersexualized, oversexualized, sexualized too young, these gender wars that are going on. So we looked at different timelines. The timeline of fucking and porn and twerking and women as objects and women as, just warm, wet holes to stick it in, basically. Women and children. I'm going there. I'm going there. This will probably take all day to upload, but that's okay. Say the things, even if nobody's listening or they're all listening and pretending not to. I don't know anymore and I don't care. Whoever hears me can hear me and whoever can't. And that's okay. I've really accepted that. So we were looking at different timelines on the planet, and the abuse timeline, the exploitation, the rape, the timelines where there's harm and violence involved in sexuality rather than what it was meant to be, what it's designed for, which is procreation and, yes, recreation and sharing your love, your time, your energy, your body, your fluids with someone, and doing that in a way that honors the light being that you are, rather than just this, flesh receptacle for some guy's need, pain, or anger, or rage, or misogyny, or whatever. That's not what it was ever meant to be. Okay. So we look at where do we want to go? Because we know where we've been and where we don't want to be anymore. Everyone in that story had some kind of rape or molestation or incest situation or trauma, and it's more and more rampant. And I will give Me Too credit for this. It helped people tell their survivor stories and not feel alone or ashamed or dirty or weird or, broken or something. I mean, it made us all realize, well, there are predators out there and then there are the preyed upon. And so that's when the vigilante thing comes and you become the predator for the predators, right? And you take them down and you call them out and you shine a light on their behaviors and you expose them. And we keep doing that now, and we do it bravely, boldly, unapologetically, and we're no longer afraid. We're no longer afraid. So those who've caused harm should be the ones shaking in their boots at this point. Those who've abused their power are the ones who should be very fucking afraid at this point. That is not a threat. That is a fact. That is a karmic reality. None of us have to really do much except open our mouths and tell our truths, say the things. Okay, and that's happening more and more. Safety in numbers. It's actually a beautiful, magical, mystical, miraculous, wonderful thing that people are feeling more safe and comfortable to share these icky, slimy, what was done in the dark is coming to the light. That's just what's happening. So you have these new ways of seeing things. Maybe we'd call it tantra. That's not new, but moving out of, just conquest and lust, and some lust can be good, but not if it's hijacking someone and taking them over and making them blinded to the fact that this is an energy exchange between humans. And it must be consensual. Otherwise, it's a violation of the highest spiritual order, and that's when things really start to slide in a bad way. So we were obliterating that timeline of exploitation, rape, and harm, and we were anchoring timelines and realities and dimensional truths of sensual pleasure shared, consensual pleasure shared, respecting women, respecting our yes, respecting our no, the first time. And that can be a very powerful use of sexual and sensual pleasure energy, which was never meant to be either hijacked or suppressed or vilified. Our sexual energy is a part of who we are, just like our gender is a part of who we are. It doesn't define us or limit us. It is simply a part of who we are. Okay? Like having brown eyes or wearing a denim shirt. It's just, that's not a part of me, but it's, how I'm choosing to adorn myself in this moment. It's just comfy cozy. And okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going to invite all of you, or I'm inviting all of you to do the same, that when you see something that is exploitation or harm or hypersexualization, you call it out, you call it out, you call it out, yes. And then you try to have some healthy version of sexuality, people holding hands, eye gazing, deep breathing, not a domination or subjugation model, but a mutual honoring and respect model of this is who we are. We are beings of light contained in skin. So think of it almost like Cocoon and the scene in the pool where she says, we don't make love like you do, and that's the other thing, is the distinction between fucking and making love. And that's a whole other rant, but you get it. So she says, we don't make love like you do. And she sends her light body out and up and into him. In fact, she penetrates him with her light. He is the receiver. So that's right there different, because on this planet, it's the male appendage that penetrates the orifices, right? We're just going there. We're going for it today. This is not for kids, not safe for work, because they're, it's safe for work. This is what we should be talking about. We should be talking about healthy sexuality rather than the distorted, exploitative, objectification realities that we've had on this planet. I do blame the Kardashians for a big part of perpetuating that and almost just bringing it to this absolutely gross level where let women be women. I got a zit, man. I got my wrinkles. I got my gray hairs. I got my belly bulge. Like, I'm still viable as a sexual, sensual, pleasure exchanging being, and I will be for many years until I kick it, because that's how it is. I actually walked into my parents a few times in their 60s, 69ing, if you know what I'm saying. It was brain eraser. So they had a very healthy, active pleasure life together, lovemaking journey, if you will. So I did actually have healthy and unhealthy versions and visions of that. But I do remember a time when, this isn't such a big deal in the big scheme of things, but I remember a time when I was probably about 4 or 5, and there was about a 12 to 13 to 14, maybe even year old boy who around the back, or, around the side of our house was trying to get me to drop trow, this I'll show me yours, you show me mine. Now, he was old enough to know better. Something might have happened to him, because again, if there's harm in the home, predators and abusers perpetrate on the children, and then they perpetrate on each other, and then they perpetrate on their children, and then it becomes this generational thing. Luckily, I didn't have that in my world. Personally, I've never been molested or incested or anything, but I did have a college date rape experience. So I don't know why that matters, but I guess it does, because all these people come to me with these childhood, traumas around sexuality, and mine are pretty minor and vanilla and mild comparatively speaking, I guess, from the horror stories I hear all the time. So, because I was a virgin until I was 21, so I was very late to the party, but very much enjoyed my 20s. Been celibate a long time, and definitely know how to take care of myself. Definitely have fantasies. Definitely think there's something beautiful about when you are in love with someone, sharing yourself in a naked way. And I mean that metaphorically, physically, metaphysically, energetically. But there's junk food sex, and then there's, actual lovemaking. And after a while, the junk food sex just doesn't cut it. It's not nourishing, and it becomes addictions. And it really derails a lot of young men's lives who then do not know how to relate to a real woman in real time. So that's my rant on that. I'm not a prude. I get that people need an outlet. I get they need, some of them need visuals. I get that some need audio. I'm fairly audio myself. I like to hear a lover's voice, whispering sweet nothings. That's a turn on for me. But the biggest turn on is be there for your lady. That one of the best things I ever heard was great sex starts at the breakfast table. And that doesn't mean at the breakfast table, although that can happen too. It means that you're having dialogue, you're having conversation, you're checking in with each other throughout the day. And you don't have to be texting 24/7, but you have to be, a little thinking of you moment, a little flirt, a little this, a little that, a little, just playfulness fosters that intimacy, connection, and that sexual charge. And I have a lot of people come to me and say, oh, we haven't had sex in a long time. It's actually the women complaining about the men losing their libido or losing their attraction for their partners who are age appropriate and then going after these women who are half their age. I have no sympathy for men who go after someone half their age and then complain when drama ensues. No sympathy, zero. That shows that you had a stunted consciousness. Now you're trying to project it onto the younger woman that you went after as a predator, as a sleaze, not as a gentleman, not as someone who's an evolving conscious being who can actually relate to someone who's in their basic age range. And I mean, like 10 years, like 7 or 8 or 9 in that range is probably still fine because, there's not too much of a gap. When it's someone who is literally young enough to be your daughter, what message does that send to your actual daughter, right? How are you going to feel when she's 17, 18, 19, and some 40-year-old guy is coming at the door, knocking on the door, trying to take her out for a date? How are you going to feel? I mean, this is not to be normalized. This is not to be, overlooked. This is a problem. It's a deep-rooted problem. So, again, we do want to starve the old timelines and nourish and water and feed the newer ones, which is an awareness of how powerful and magical sexual energy is. It is not something to be suppressed. It is not something to be only within the bounds of marriage, in my opinion. But it is something that there should be a foundation of commitment, mutual respect, honoring, and safety. There should be some safety around, I don't mean safe words. I mean, that's a whole other realm I have no interest in. But, if have had some young women clients who said, well, he's choking me out during sex. I'm like, that's abuse. That's not sex. That's not lovemaking. That's not consensual. Like, you may be going kind of dead and frozen because you don't want to not be the cool girl, or you don't know what's happening, or you're into it in the moment. I don't know, but the men who are perpetrating that kind of violence against women are very damaged in their psyche, very wounded around women and around half of themselves, because that's their anima, right? Anima animus. That's a Jungian thing, Google it. So, women's sexuality has just not been featured, and especially women who are in their middle age, or, they make dryness jokes, and I'm telling you, that's not an issue if you're healthy. That's just, don't buy the lie that they're telling you you're going to have all kinds of issues with hot flashes and this and that. I haven't had any, and it's diet, exercise, and mindset and vibration. And mine isn't perfect by any means, but I've had other issues too. But hormones, like, we don't have to be at their mercy. I mean, yes, you get the occasional pimple that you're like, really? Wrinkles and pimples, baby. That's what the 50s are about. Look forward to it, Kardashians. You're gonna get there too someday if you're lucky. Who knows at the rate they're going, though. We just need a comet to come and take out Hollywood now, and DC, and all these other, and Disney, and the Vatican, and all these other hubs where they've just pushed the what philia. Doesn't it's not going forward on this planet. It's dying now. So anyone who's been into that realm, who's participated, who's known about it and looked the other way, here's your last chance, last call. You gotta start stepping up, speaking up, saying the uncomfortable things. I know there is one Hollywood person. There's a few that are kind of speaking up here and there, and there's one Hollywood person that I had hope for, but she's still playing the cutesy game. But it was Blake Lively. Once said, she went to a fundraiser for child trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, and she said she knew what panda eyes meant. And for those of you who don't know, it is when a child is sodomized and their eyes go black. They get bruising in their eyes. So when you see panda, that is a very big red flag. Very big red flag. Hot dog, unfortunately, is a code for little boys. Pizza is a code for little girls. So these are things that are almost bumping into the mainstream, that they're understanding how these scumbags communicate with each other. And I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, there's too much evidence and there's too much visibility and patterns, and there's a lot of shady, dark stuff that goes on with the vulnerable on this planet, and that needs to be shifted. So that's what we were doing last night, is moving out of the, victimhood and the victimizing and the perpetrators, and into the truth tellers, the rebels, the renegades, the fighters, we'll call them patriots, we'll call them Christians, whatever. There do seem to be a large faction of those people in the movement to protect the vulnerable. You don't always have to agree with each other. I still have some areas where I'm more radical and areas where I'm not conservative by any means. It's just not a word I would apply to myself, But I do understand people's points of view of, no, you're not taking my guns and you're not taking my kids and you're not taking my Bible and my flag. Like, I do kind of get it now, especially when you see all the virtue signaling and grooming, the heavy, disgusting grooming that goes on in the lefty liberal blue realms, which I was a part of for a very long time, and I'm definitely a defector, but I didn't go red. I just went out of all of it, because it's all programming as far as I'm concerned. The Jesus program and the Satan program are at war, and so you want to pull yourself out of all of it, rise above it, and see beyond it. Beyond. Okay? Yeah. So me and my Zit are going to go have some fun in the sun today, and I'm going to attune a friend to Reiki level 1, and maybe go have some lunch and do some barefoot on the grass earthing, and this is my life. So hope you stay happy, healthy, whole, and well, and whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's not being on a golf course bragging about a hole-in-one. It is showing up for people who are in need, listening, hugging them, holding them. It's not a lick my balls kind of rally where I'm collecting money that, where does it go? Where does it go? It's not helping people. That's for damn sure. I don't think we need more golden toilets, Donnie. I don't think we do, buddy. So anyway, if you want to be the leader of the free world, actually lead. Actually, gather the troops and go after the literal bad guys and girls, and take them down and call them out and shine the light, expose the darkness. Now, I've been incredibly mean and bitchy to the perpetrators, because it's the only language they understand. They only understand being dragged. They only understand being doxxed. They only understand when their wallet is threatened, when their livelihood and their reputation comes, under fire. That's all they understand. So we can call it wokeness. We can call it cancel culture. We can call it, lifting the rock to see the maggots underneath, or, snake smashing, or, it's the righteous, way of being to, I don't mean virtuous and righteous in biblical sense. I mean, just do the right thing, like really basic, good or evil, light or dark, truth or lies. We are at a choice point now, kids. You want to keep playing and spinning your old bullshit and your old games, you're going down in flames quickly. You don't have much time. This is not, you can't drag it out and play games anymore. You got to get real, get raw, get honest, get in the mirror, and get on the phone with friends and talk about, these things, or get in rooms with people and talk about these things. So they wanted to keep us separated and suppressed for so long that now we're gathering and becoming more vocal and outspoken, and that's what has to happen. So I am visualizing, even a handful, even one person in Hollywood could take this whole structure down with their story, with their truth, with, being brave, and, 10 seconds of bravery, right? Isn't that a Good Will Hunting thing? 10 seconds of bravery can change your life for the better. So I urge any and all of you, not just in Hollywood or DC or positions of false perceived power, but in your churches, in your schools, in your neighborhoods, start speaking up, start saying the things, and start showing up and walking the talk. I walk my talk every fucking day. What's my talk? Dear human. Messy, sweaty, crazy. Yeah, that's me, baby. Do you walk your talk? Yeah. Things that you've put out there that you say you believe in, that you don't actually believe in, but you just think sound good or look good on paper or on screen? Are you going to actually have integrity? Are you going to actually do the right fucking thing and not like drag it out or play games or twist it or invert it or reverse it, but actually do the right fucking thing, which you do always know what that is. You do. It ain't lying. It ain't hiding in shadows. It ain't playing mind games, and it ain't gaslighting. It is transparency. It is honesty, and it is, that raw vulnerability and authenticity, not the fake version in sequins and with fake tits and fake faces, real, raw, true, zitty. Okay. I don't know. I guess I'm cleansing. I'm doing purging and things are coming out. No, it is. It's hormones and stress and a whole bunch of things. But if that's the worst thing I got going today, I think I'm doing okay. Oh, vanity. Vanity and security are illusions. And self-confidence comes from, I'm not perfect and I don't always get it right, but I do my best. And that's enough. It's plenty, right? All right, anything else on sex? Because now this is going to be hopefully a hot one. And, like, share, subscribe, help with the algorithm. I know that these are concepts that we don't really talk about because they were either taboo, so they were, John Lennon used to talk about how you can see war on the screen, but you can't see people making love. Well, I don't really want to see people making love or war. Some things should be behind closed doors and off screens. And other things we can have open dialogues about at certain age-appropriate levels. I do feel that if it's not consensual, it's rape. That's it. If there's violence involved, it's rape. And you're a rapist. So deal with that. Deal with your anger towards half of yourself, towards half of the human race, and towards life. I have anger. I have anger about people who hurt other people. And I don't sit here and go, hurt people, and have compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. No, you don't rush to that. You don't bypass to that. There have to be reparations. There has to be, there has to be transparency and accountability of, yep, I did that shitty thing. Yep, I said that. Yep, that was me. Yep, fuck, damn, I blew it. I'm sorry. But if you're truth-telling, oh no, you're not sorry. If you're exposing lies and deception and harm to vulnerable and innocents, you have carte blanche to say and do what you want and what you need to in that moment because you're guided. You're divinely in your, your Kali, your warrior, your avenging angel. You have every right to speak harshly on harsh things that happen to you. You have every right. And then later comes the softness, the forgiveness, the kindness, anybody who says be kind now, I'm like, you first. Show me how you do it. Because I don't believe you. And I've seen you be very unkind, very shady, very full of shit. So when I hear that now, I go, okay. The people who are actually kind, who show up and like give $5 to the homeless person or, will help someone move or will pick someone up at the airport, that's kindness. It's not treating your housekeepers like shit. Going on TV and talking about your life. I'm doing it here, but, it's like, keep it local, keep it real, keep it tangible. Write those big fat checks if you can afford them and whatever you have. I've known the most poor people are the most generous. The people who have the least resources will share with you. And the people who have the most are hoarders and greedy and gross. So let's change that storyline though. Let's change it up. Let's change it up. Let's change it all up. Let's move out of exploitation, manipulation, harm, charm, and into truth, reality. Is it messy? Yeah, of course it is. Is it scary? Not so much anymore because you get to a point where you go, well, You've tried to kill me metaphorically and physically and energetically and emotionally many times. And all it ever does is backfire on you. So you're going to get smart, are you going to get brave, are you going to get honest, or are you going to keep looping with your bullshit? That's my question. That's my challenge to you today. Okay.